Supermoon Tarot, and in today's video we are going to be going over March predictions, love, fortune, and this is super cute, bits and bobs. That is how my spirit guide put it, and I love that. It totally caught me off guard with the wording, but nonetheless, it is additional information that doesn't fit in a particular category. As usual, I want to remind you guys that I have a tarot training course and an intuition training course, and they go hand in hand. Essentially, both were designed as this idea of, you know, when you're living life and you feel like you have these moments of truth, and synchronicity lines up, or maybe you try a method of manifesting and it works one time and not another, or it seems like everything's going great in life and then it's confusing when something sort of happens that throws you off, or when everything is going right, you're not quite sure what was the formula that made that happen. Essentially, you're left with 1,000,001 questions. And both of these courses enable you to look further into that and then start to get enough information that not only is it just helpful and wonderful to know what's going on, but it helps you over time. Well, this is my goal for it. As we start to sort of peel back the veil on our own lives and the universe, it starts to not feel random. It starts to feel like it makes sense. And this is the beautiful part. You start to feel like you have a hand in what's going to happen next. You always did, but now you're going to actually understand, like, well, how do you finesse that? How do you do that? You can see it's very multifaceted, but both are accomplishing the same goal. But sometimes when it comes to the intuition course, people need something, it's a skill that you develop. And like when we talk about traveling to the spirit realm and that, and meeting your spirit guides and practicing your intuition, it sometimes has that helpful guide of something to work with tarot, something very tangible, putting the answers in front of you, and you can see how they benefit one another. In addition to that, I just posted some new videos on my Patreon. One is about your inner being, discussing that, talking about how to connect to that. And I went to the Akashic Records to go over the subject of ego. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and I finally went in to get further explanation. So you can go check that out in the description below. But let's get back to our video. We've got 4 groups in front of us. We've got group number 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to give you a moment to pick the group that you resonate with most. Now that you have, you can go down the description where you can skip to your designated group with its marked timestamp, and let's get started with group number 1. Group number 1, let's look into March predictions by looking at the cards. Okay, first, we're looking into love. I can already hear my spirit guide talking to me, so give me one moment to hear what they're saying. Okay, we're going to be doing couples and singles. Awesome. I love when everyone's included. Interesting. Okay, we've got kind of this, it's not actually that different. There's a slight twist for couples, but both experiences have a similar type of situation happening, and there is an overall challenge going on. Now, we don't say challenge in this circumstance as challenging, as in difficult, this big obstacle in the way. Not like that. It's more like you're being given an opportunity to see something that normally is maybe not your exact expertise. You're given an opportunity to kind of show your stuff, if you will, and by rising to the occasion, it will positively benefit you in the long term, but we're going to get more in the details in one second. So let's first start with the 3 of Cups upright for singles. So I'm really happy to say March is going to be your month, and this is so cute what my spirit guide said. A lot of parties are going to be interested in you, and interested in you in an active way of letting you know. It feels, let me just double check my spirit guide if it's very like close circumference situation. Yes, for the most part they said, but some will be like, you know, on social media, maybe a little not running into, like, all the parties running into each other, so to speak. Let me just double check that. My circuit's like, yes, you heard me correctly. Okay, good. So going on with that, this is where the challenge lies. So I love how my spirit guide was putting all of this. They basically were saying, how can you have the most fun and how are you going to handle it, and how are you going to keep everyone happy? Again, the goal is not about keeping everyone happy and kind of losing sight of the enjoyment of so many people being interested in you and just kind of having a fun month where you're like, wow, I'm feeling myself. Other people are feeling me. This is great. I'm so happy. But, like, it's more about that enjoyment. It's not about constantly watching out for everyone's feelings, nor being mean, because this is just the beginning stages of people letting you know they're into you. And essentially, the choice is really yours. You can totally keep it very private, but there is a sort of, if you're private too much, if you're kind of constantly letting everyone see only one side of you and they're unaware of the others, there can be the potential feeling of like you're leading a bunch of people on separately, and it kind of feels like you're more managing that rather than the enjoyment of just being your free self all the time. Instead, my spirit guide was suggesting that it would be best if you kind of have a more, and this is the more theme of the month for you, it's very fun and friendship and like partying and having a good time. So if you've ever been in this circumstance, please let me know in the comments below. It's always a good time in somebody's life, but have you ever been in a position where, you go somewhere, some sort of like gathering or something like that back in the day and stuff like that, and when you're hanging out with people, there's a few people letting you know and kind of giving you the eye. And you're just kind of giving one person the eye, taking a moment to flirt with another person, walk over into another, and nobody's really taking anything too seriously. If anything, they're excited to kind of go after you more because they see, ooh, there's other people interested. I got to really like let them know I like them. This is where you kind of play a song and dance between friendship and then, letting them know back like, hey, I am interested in you. And the cool thing is during this month, it can give you some time to be like, hey, do I just want to enjoy this situation for what it is, and the confidence and the, feeling good about yourself for the occasion and the attention? Do I want to kind of look around this month to see who is a good sort of a contender, if you will, who you want to explore the options with in the long term? Because again, we're not talking about if someone is a specific option. That's going to be, hold on one second. Sorry about that. Let's continue on. So anyways, that is really kind of up to you. But the challenge here is finding how can you find that nice middle area where you're being your true vibrant self and not closing it off, constantly watching everyone's feelings, but sort of being the energy creator for other people, or the pilot, if you will, of this combobbled ship of people. But before we go into more detail, I want to go over couples first because they are going to both intertwine right here. So for couples, it's actually your partner will have a lot of people interested in them. And now before there's any moment of like, oh my goodness, does that mean straight up cheating and stuff like that? This is where the challenge lies. It is about checking in this month with your partner and the relationship and asking like, hey, we both happy, we're cool, because, there's nothing wrong with if somebody flirts with your partner doesn't have to reciprocate. Your partner can just be like, oh, yep, someone thought I looked good, but I'm gonna just keep living my best life, that's their, situation in business. I'm doing my own thing. And checking in and being like, does everything feel nice? Are we cool? It's not about competing out of insecurity, but making sure everyone feels happy. Maybe even the challenge here is looking, and I especially have to point this out when we talk about these two cards, and I'll explain in 1 second, but do you ever feel a level of insecurity when this happens? Is it maybe difficult at all for you to see someone look at your partner and not immediately take it personal, and instead be like, well, I have confidence in myself, I have confidence in my partner, and while yes, I'd love them to stay away from them, and no thank you, please don't do that, I at the same time am able to be supportive of my partner and be like, hey, you must be looking really cute, and I'm so happy I get to be with you. Do you see what I'm saying here? It's more the conversation that it's the energy is around, so it will be an uplifting month for your partner in that way, but that doesn't mean there's any sort of straying or anything you need to worry about. But it is a good time to check in both with your own security with yourself, your own security in the relationship, everything like that, and just check in and have a good month and enjoy becoming that much better version of yourself. Because what we have going on here, both the Devil card in reverse and the Tower card in reverse, both of these talk about the concept of something difficult that's been lasting a very long time. I'm really happy to say that they're both in reverse, with both, which talks about both inner work, but overcoming a long-standing issue that's like an issue that's been a problem for a while, and basically overcoming it this month by having this challenge presented to you and you stepping up to the plate, which is really cute and beautiful, and I'm very happy for you. Keep in mind something to consider if you have a moment where you're like, why is this happening? Ooh, this is getting a little, difficult to migrate, whether navigate. Like example, if you were a single person, you're like, okay, a lot of people are interested in me. I'm not quite sure where to go from here. Or I'm not used to all this attention. And if you're in a couples relationship, you're like, this person's so annoying. Why is this happening? Well, the Devil card is what is the word term? Ruled by Saturn. Now, the thing that's really interesting about Saturn for my tarot training course was when I visited the Spirit of Saturn. Interestingly enough, by the way, when I visited Spirit of Saturn, it was a female, even though Saturn is masculine in nature. I thought that was very interesting. But nonetheless, she was very clear and insistent that Saturn is actually about the idea that things sometimes need to work out in a particular way. And this might not be super fun for people. This is where they feel that sense of limitation or restriction because they want there to be a tons of options. And in some cases, things just need to work out the way they need to work out. But that even though that is the case, even though it is working out in a way they might not necessarily agree with initially, it will work out in a way that they are like, it was working out in the way it was meant to work out. And that overall, when you kind of get to the end of it, you're like, oh, I see why that happened, why that needed to happen. So this is a very kind of like broadening your perspective of the world type of scenario, which is great. So like I said, step up to the challenge. These are some things to keep in mind. And this will be very positive. And this last thing I'll say before I go on to fortune. This is the thing that's really awesome about this. When you realize that you've always been enough, even in the comparison of people, and you can kind of more join in or to the gang of everybody instead of like feeling like an outsider, or looking more into yourself and being like, I have nothing to worry about, and step up to that plate and do the work and take care of yourself in that way and give yourself that sort of supportive mantra and realize you are enough. It is the thing that benefits you because you realize how much it's held you back, and that you can make the choice to realize that you've always been enough and that you can use it to your benefit rather than hindrance. So just some cool things to keep in mind. So let's pop into fortune. Give me a moment. I'm just going to listen to my spirit guide. Oh, let me just ask one more question. Okay, so this is more about you setting up sort of, I don't want to say the term foundation because we don't have like an emperor here or anything like that, but it's almost like you're going to, let me just double check that this is correct. Oh, okay, good. Okay, I was just checking with my spirit guide. So what you're setting up in March is an important energy and mindset and sort of like new way of perceiving how you want to project, how you perceive money, how you want to go about money, and how it relates with people around you going forward, so you can then attract more of that to you, and that you will get little inklings of fortune or signs of money coming your way, which is really awesome. However, don't give up that it's not as big as you might want it to during March. You're sort of going through an exploratory time period. We're going to get into that conversation more with the Page of Wands. But rather, sorry, I'm trying to find my footing here. I'm so sorry, I just totally spaced my mind. Let me just keep going forward and see if I remember. The point is, oh, I remember. My spirit guide said, they will have inklings throughout March, but there'll be an explosion later on. So get excited for that, so that you're building up towards something, and the little inklings are sort of like little breadcrumb trails to signify like, yep, you're on the right path, keep doing it. So let's get into that specific. So first off, with the Three of Pentacles being in reverse, this is more about you pulling away from other people and finding that fortune privately and by yourself solitarily. So when you are having good fortune this month, or are connecting to that manifestation and that concept, this would be you definitely not sharing that with other people. If people want to discuss how well they're doing, you're just going to quietly be like, oh, okay, cool, that's awesome. And you're going to keep it to yourself. You're pulling away from that. You're not sharing that with them because you're on your own personal journey. And it's about also pulling away from their influence, interestingly enough. Now, that's sort of like choice words here, because with the Seven of Swords in reverse, this actually talks about you taking the knowledge that you have admired from other people, that you're like, yeah, that did really resonate with me. I'm going to use that going forward with the perspective how to view money, or that's a good manifestation technique or something like that. And you're going to use that, but you're not going to tell anyone about it. You're going to keep it on the DL, and you're going to keep it to yourself. So maybe you can like overhear, and keep in mind, I did double check my spirit guide. We're not talking about like, overhearing other people and what they're doing, but hearing like, that's a good concept, or that's a good mantra to have. And you're kind of like paying attention, and you're practicing it in private without them knowing. You're pulling back and you're keeping it to yourself, which is really interesting. You're going through an exploratory stage. And again, this makes me feel like it's storing up confidence kind of vibe, because with the Page of Wands, this is about the idea of you're exploring, you're going through trials and errors privately and on a smaller scale, so you don't deal with the sense of like loss and then discouragement. Instead, you'll be like, oh, I tried this, I didn't really see any results from them, not a big deal, I'm gonna try this, let me think about this, let me try this, and you're just kind of figuring stuff out and having fun with it. But being able to do that on a private scale, and being able to hear what other, like, take inspiration but keep it all to yourself, really creates this beautiful air of mystery around you. You look like the person that just knows what it is and what's going on. And there's a sense of admirance from, like, other people can kind of like be like, ooh, they just seem like they know what's going on. I never know what they're going to do next. And you're sort of starting to like pique the interest of your peers, but quietly you're like, I'm just trying to figure stuff out. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. But also, when we talk about the storing up confidence issue, sometimes it's just as simple as not hearing something negative or discouraging from your peers, or something that isn't meant to be discouraging, but then you hear it and you're just kind of like, well, I don't know, and you get in your head about it. Instead, there's a sense of like, it's just you, it's just the information, and you learning to tune into your inner being and inner compass and figuring out, well, that feels right to me, and I'm not saying that feels right because I saw someone else do it and they were successful, and I'm just trying to follow what everyone else is saying. I forgot to mention that was a big thing my spirit guide was saying in the beginning, that the pulling away from other people and doing it on your own is you figuring out what works for you, but at the end of the day, learning to find your fortune by your own, like trusting what you think is right and wrong, rather than only doing what other people are doing and getting kind of more reconnected with yourself. But also, if you try something out and it doesn't work, it's just not as big of a deal on a smaller scale with yourself. You're just kind of like, whatever, didn't work. Compared to when you feel like your peers are like, hey, I heard you were trying that thing out. Can you tell me about this? And you feel like you're almost explaining yourself. Again, not because your peers are making you explain yourself, but it feels that way when you're trying to figure stuff out. And then you get too much in your head, and then you don't try stuff out. You get what I'm saying. So we're pulling back, we're working on that, and we're building up an energy. This is really important and an underrated thing. So often, I'll let you in on a little secret, this can be the key to a lot of people's success. Take a couple people in different professions, and they do that thing, they put in that work ethic, and you'll notice some people just skyrocket so easily, and other people, you just don't see the results back for them, and you can tell they're in their head, they're trying to figure out their footing and stuff like that. They only told themselves, if I work X amount of hard, and the reality is they weren't, I'm getting passionate. They weren't putting enough energy out into the universe that said, I'm enough. I'm good enough. I've got this. I trust my opinion. I'm where it's at. And that's what you're essentially building up throughout March. It's fun, it's relaxing, and you're taking it into the future to then build up and see even bigger results from in the coming months. But you will see little inklings of fortune. But remember, it's more, don't get hooked on those things. Don't just get discouraged. Remember, you're building up just little small bits throughout March. Take that as more signs of being like, yep, you're doing a good job. Keep moving down this path. That was a good choice. Keep going down that's the right, when we talk about experimentation, that's the right experiment. And now let's look at bits and bobs. Oh wow, Ace of Cups in reverse. We'll talk about that in 1 second. Let me just look. Okay, super cute, super forward, super point blank. 8 of Pentacles. You're going to be doing some casual shopping. Isn't that fun? And when we talk about casual shopping, it should be relaxing. Kind of make that deal with yourself. When we talk about fortune, you're going to get some extra money. You're going to sort of tune into yourself and be like, you know what? I'm going to go shopping. I'm going to relax. Maybe you even have fun. And whether you're online shopping or you're going out to a store, you put on your headphones, you listen to a podcast or a good song or something like that. And you're just vibing. You're really making that connection to like, ooh, that's pretty, that feels like me, and then you buy it. And if you don't leave with something because nothing really like resonates with you, that's fine. But it's about the enjoyment of like, yep, you're telling yourself that mantra, yep, I've got money, I'm doing good, I'm always going to keep getting more money. And you're just relaxing and enjoying the benefits of, often it's funny, people have a goofy association with money. It's like you want to buy all this stuff, you want to get all this money, and then finally you get it and there's a fear-based thing of like, what if it doesn't happen again? You're tuning in, you're having a good time, you're relaxing. It's just and I gotta tell you, this doesn't pop up very often, but when I am being told by my spirit guides and I see in the cards, it's a good time to go out and shop and vibe and stuff like that. This is an extra worry-free zone of just relaxing and enjoying yourself. But you might as well use it as an exercise to build up a positive relationship to money and yourself. Remember, it's fun to buy things that you feel like are an extension of you and then basically surround yourself with your interests. So anyways, in the Hierophant over here, or font, how do you guys say it? Font or font? It's very tomato. But which, by the way, who says tomato? Who? I mean, if you do, no hate, but I'm just curious. Anyways, this is going to be a study inwardly, specifically with the imagery over here with meditation. It is highly recommend you use meditation to do that. Where we see the pattern repeating in the background and you over here, or like a representation of you, so to speak. This is the you finding your individuality amongst the noise, the sameness, blending out, pulling away from the crowd. Very similar to what we were talking about in the fortune. You pulling away, finding your inner voice. But it's about a study of looking inwardly. So again, it's not necessarily about purely clearing your mind. I mean, I do recommend that. You can find some beautiful stuff when you clear out the noise, but it is about letting your mind wander, giving it focused attention, and then instead of judging yourself based on whatever you think or feel or trying to force it to be something, really, asking yourself, well, why did I think that? Why did I feel that way? And just kind of going in deeper and understanding like, well, how do I regularly want to think throughout the day? What are my most common thoughts? Can I change it to something else? Where do I want that to go? And just looking inward through contemplation and meditation. And maybe even taking away the seriousness of it all. But also, you can have a lot of fun with that. Intuition course, we talk about how you can go travel the spirit realm and you can do all of that jazz on an even more fun level. I'm just putting that out there. But nonetheless, just closing your eyes, paying attention to your thoughts, and going a little deeper and having fun with those thoughts. Keep in mind, before I move on to this card, it doesn't always have to be serious. You can literally meditate for 20 minutes on like, I don't know, maybe you have a show you really love and you're like thinking about the characters and you're like, I just didn't love that character did that. Or, I love that character so much. And then you're pondering about yourself as the character. And then you can have fun and go deeper and go, why did I see myself in that character? You see what I'm saying? You're really just digging into your mind and exploring it and becoming friends with it. But from that self-awareness, we have Ace of Cups. Now, this is really cute with it being in reverse. My spirit guide, this is not about being closed off. Traditionally, this card is about being closed off emotionally and disconnecting, distrusting. But in fact, this is about pulling away from others in order to pull within yourself. This is really beautiful. So my spirit guide said, there doesn't necessarily mean that you are disconnected from others or you're emotionally, or no, they said, it doesn't necessarily mean you're emotionally closed off just because you don't want to sort of share your emotions with other people. This is you pulling into yourself and sharing it only with yourself. Again, very similar to what we just spoke about in, I think, the Fortune. It kind of has a little bit of resonation with the love part of this. But anyways, you get what I'm saying. So this is definitely a month where you maybe won't be sharing as much as what's on your mind. You're going to be a little elusive, a little mysterious, a little bit, keep to yourself. Again, that goes really well with what we talked about with the love portion. But also to sometimes, again, we talked about this before in the fortune part, sometimes it's not nice to not be in a position where you have to constantly give others a play-by-play of what you're feeling. And you just kind of want to sit in it and feel it and go through it and discover it on your own. And sometimes it can feel even more special, you'll find, by keeping it to yourself. And sometimes people find it sad if they can't share it with others. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. You're becoming your own best friend, and that is a wonderful, wonderful thing to have. So anyways, I hope you're excited for March. I'm excited for you. Please leave a comment below. Give this video a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'm wishing you the best. I will see you in the next one. And let's get ready for our next group. Group number 2. Group number 2. Let's find out March predictions by looking at the cards. Okay, first we're starting with love. Give me a moment to listen to my spirit guide. Okay. 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 I feel like this is going to come back up again. Yeah. By the way, I hope you cannot hear my neighbor talking. If you can, whatever. I can't, not whatever to you, but just whatever, they're talking, it's not a big deal. So let's first start in the beginning of the month. The beginning of the month is going to be a relief, I'm happy to say. This is actually a fun thing for, in my tarot training course that my spirit guide was just sharing, that, when we always look at new ways to look at the cards, something for fellow tarot readers, you can look at this as the end of the month, February, from February, this is the month we're looking at, March, and then over here we have going into the next month, April. So this is representing the worry and the stress that you have towards love going out the door, leaving the door. It's being left in February, we're done. So this can be anything from disgruntlement in the relationship itself. I kind of get way more of a vibe, especially with the swords popping up for when we talk about being in your mind, that it's more like there's been a worry about love. This concept of well, what's going to happen with me and my partner, or the perspective I have in love. I'm so worried about when I'm going to get my next partner or soulmate. Where are they? When will they show up? You're just kind of over stressing yourself out. And it just seems like you kind of finally leave it to rest, stop thinking about it, and kind of tune back into the world around you and feel a sense of relief and relaxation from constantly overwhelming yourself with this. So I'm very happy to say there's relief initially in the month. Now in the middle of the month, though, we have the Ten of Pentacles. And this is really lighthearted in a degree. There's a sense of connecting to family, and just be clear, connecting to family and you figuring out, when I look at my family, what do I take from this? And what do I want going forward in a relationship when I interact with whoever I choose to be with, or if you're currently with someone? So you kind of figure out what do you like about the interactions between, the people in this group? Is there cute things they do for each other, or a type of consideration, Or is there always allowing each other to speak and be heard? Maybe it's a very relaxed environment. Maybe there's not a lot of, pushing each other's buttons, or, there's just a sense of low-keyness, or whatever, makes you happy at the thought of two people being together. Or maybe there's something that you don't love and you're like, oh my goodness, I'm paying attention to this. I don't really want this in my vibe anymore. Maybe you're seeing it reflected in your own current relationship now, or maybe when you choose partners, you're like, oh, this does seem to pop up. I don't really want this. Either way, it's very contemplative and low key, but you're like returning back to the subject again with a clearer head and approaching it less from obsession or over speculation of why not or where it could be, and just pondering what you'd like, what you want and what you connect with. Keeping that in mind, though, the end of the month is a little bit of a bristle, if you want to say that. I do see some arguing for couple. Let me just double check if this is just for couples. I'm just seeing if there's I'm looking into singles right now. Hold on, give me a second. Okay, so for singles too. Okay, so for couples, there is a sort of argument popping up. We're going to go into specifics with that in one moment. And for singles, there does seem to be someone popping up, and it doesn't feel super serious. Let me just double check with my spirit guide if that's correct. That's correct. Okay. Keeping that in mind, it's like you kind of get to know them a little bit, and then an opportunity pops up where you need to, say what is what and let them know what you represent and what you want going forward, because you've figured that out. You've really reconnected to the most important part when you're going forward in either having the best relationship possible or seeking one out. It's what do you want? What does your day-to-day look like with that idyllic other partner? Now, keep this in mind. This is really important, my spirit guide said. This is nothing to worry about being like, oh no, I don't want to look towards an argument towards the end of the month. That's not really my ideal month. There's something important going on here. It is not about there being a fight and then that's the end of it. It's about, and this is important, my spirit guide said, it's not about winning. It is about you saying to the other person, listen, I see you pushing back. Again, this is both for couples and singles. I see you pushing back, and I'm not cool with it. I want you to know these are the things that I stand by and believe and want. I'm not backing down. I'm not trying to have an argument with you. I see you're trying to have an argument with me. I'm letting you know this is what the deal is, and being true to yourself in that situation. And I did double check with my spirit guide because this is a general reading. In the vast amount of cases for this reading, your partner is going to be like, okay, I hear what you're saying. And there's more of a sense of like, you're heard and listened to and making progress in that department, which is nice. I don't want to view it as a winning, because that's really not the purpose of when you have a disagreement with a partner. But essentially, you're getting your point made and you're not backing down and you're not taking it and not giving into it. But yeah, so let's look at fortune. Oh, I can already hear my spirit guide speaking. Give me one moment. Oh, well, that's nice. Okay. Okay, this is awesome. Okay, so first off, over here in the Magician card, my spirit guide said that you're going to be having a repeating customer throughout the month. So let me just double check. They're already saying, the spirit guide's already like saying that's for everyone. So this can be if you have a small business, you run your own individual business of some kind, or maybe you are just a person that wants to be, you'd like, let's say you're a waitress at a restaurant, you'd be having someone come back over and over again. The repeating customer, though, is going to be really beneficial for you this month. They're going to support you in a myriad of ways, not only financially, like getting return business from you. So again, you don't have to have your own business to keep seeing them and get business from them. So example, I always use the barista metaphor. They give you extra big tips or something like that. You know what I mean? But also just general support, like maybe they really let you know that they vibe with whatever it is that you're putting out into the world when it comes to your current career and whatever you're enjoying. So it's financial, it's emotional, you like their vibes. After you interact with them, they really perk you up for the day and motivate you to keep exploring your current career even more, and you feel like what you're doing is worthwhile, and lots of other great banter and that type of jazz. So not only is it beneficial enjoyment wise, and it's just it's a good idea that in the beginning of the month you're really giving everybody you're interacting with your full kind of like love and attention. We're going to come back to that when we talk about the Justice card, because you'll start to notice who pops in that's then going to then keep repeating. Are they going to pop up in the beginning of the month? More second week. Okay, just in case, keep bringing that energy beginning of the week and second week. But in the second week, they're going to pop up. And when you see them and they start to repeat, you're going to really enjoy the extra financial flow they're throwing your way, as well as all the emotional support, energy, that type of thing. So just good vibes all along. Now, I'm really happy to say with the Four of Wands, there is a sense of relaxation going on this month in March that will be so beneficial. Specifically, my spirit guide said that you will not be concerned about rent. That if there is a worry about it, how you're going to make it, what's going on, this will be taken care of, because again, we talk about this, and just this also hints to just general financial success and stuff like that. But it's also an attitude that pops up not only by choice, but again, the comfort of money coming your way. But also, there is a general comfort in your day-to-day life and attitude. So this is this is not only the hint to more money coming your way, which is awesome, but it's really nice when you're not feeling like you're taking day by day, paycheck by paycheck. And we're not everybody's living paycheck by paycheck. I mean, respect if you are in that position and situation, but sometimes you have enough, but you're just like, you're a little too focused on it, and you're a little too paying attention to it, or consciously aware when you go to purchase something or buy something or whatever. And this is you just really stepping back, and kind of the days are blurring into each other. There's this underlying subconscious feeling of like, oh yeah, I got all the money in the world. Everything's cool. And you're not even thinking about it consciously. You're just enjoying receiving it. And then allowing your brain to more wander to the enjoyment of the everyday of whatever you're, whether it be like maybe you're watching a favorite TV show or you're picking up a new hobby, whatever. There's just a general sense of money isn't so desperate and at the forefront of your mind, because you're doing so well. You can kind of have a certain level of being like, check mark, that's taken care of. I'm all good. So that's awesome. But also, the sort of theme for this month that you're getting the benefit from is in the Justice card, when it's all about equal exchange. Now, when we talk about equal exchange, we're specifically focusing on the concept that when you're like sending this love and attention towards, again, we talk about the repeat business towards everyone, and you're saying like, hey, I think you're great. Hey, I think you're worthy. Hey, I'm so appreciative you showed up. Hey, even if it was only $1 or 50-cent tip, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And you're getting to see the results of that throughout the month back. You're seeing that your hard effort is actually going to be rewarded back, which I'm so happy that you're enjoying the benefit of this sort of like lesson, if you will, idea, because that isn't always the case or energy that people experience in general or on the day-to-day. But I love when the Justice card pops up. It feels really good to feel like you cared about what you did, and then to see that returned. It's got an extra ooey gooey love vibe, because it's like money, and also like you're feeling extra happy about your connection with others and yourself. So again, it's about bringing that sense of like every time you interact with someone of being like, hey, I'm gonna go the extra mile for you, and then seeing that returned. So that's really cool, positive vibes, feels very motivating. This is for me subtext, the sense of like inspiration throughout the month, and that's really cool and cute. Now let's look at bits and bobs. Okay, give me a moment to read this. Oh, we got that repeat again. I told you it was going to pop up again. Oh, this is cute. Because when we think about, I'm going to rest it like this, because this totally, imagery-wise, works perfectly. Okay. This one's super vague and random, but that's the whole point of this category. It's the stuff that doesn't fit anywhere. My spirit guide just simply said, you will specifically be making a decision about your pet, or can it be a pet? Yes. Okay. That's it. That's all I got for you. There's going to be a decision made. Does it have to do with like health? Yes, in some cases, but not always. Okay. Just something to keep in mind. So keep that in mind. There'll be a decision to be made, and you'll make that decision. Just putting that out there. Take it one step at a time. Breathe. Everything will be okay. If you have a moment of worry or concern, just pull back. All's good. Take it one step at a time. Plus, decisions can be made, can be like, keep in mind, don't think the worst when you hear this card reading. It could be like, you're going to get another pet. You know what I mean? Or maybe with your pet, you've decided to train them to go on a leash and go outside. Something like that. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be something, scary. Even my spirit guide right now just said definitely not scary. Wait, I'm just double checking that they said that. Yes, they said yes, I said that. So one, that. Over here, really beautiful. Ace of Swords, a new mindset is coming your way. It is definitely very related to the imagery of the cards. My spirit guide describes it as you're looking upwards a lot more throughout March. So when we talk about looking upwards, this is looking upwards and no longer looking at your shoes. Who looks at their shoes? Somebody who's withdrawn, doesn't feel they're good enough, kind of just maybe a little disinterested in life and stuff like that. And this is you looking up and feeling inspired. And we talk about looking up. Look at this new perspective. We talk about you reassessing the way you're looking at things, at what you want out of stuff, realizing that you get back what you put in. Really good. It feels like this, for sure, general sense of positivity. But I want to be clear about this. It is life-changing. I repeat, life-changing when you find the inspiration and motivation to start looking into being like, you know what, instead of complaining, I'm going to say what I liked about a situation. And you start small. And then even when somebody wants to complain about someone else, you end up pulling back and going, yeah, I hear what you're saying. And then instead of giving in any reaction at all, instead of redirecting your focus where you do want it to be, I want to talk about this nice snack we're having together. And again, it's not about avoiding the subject or avoiding the truth or anything like that. It's just like, where do you want to spend most of your time and energy, and constantly redirecting it towards, at first it might not be something you resonate with right away, but then you'll slowly start to see it building up like a snowball effect when you find yourself more inspired and excited by life rather than only noticing the things you didn't like working out. And you'll start to notice your world is actually not only filled with, but attracted to more things working out. But keep in mind what we talked about. We're going to flow over here to the Five of Wands, and we talked about this with stepping up here. Spirit guide repeated again. The idea is that, yes, there will be an argument. Again, this is pivotal when we talk about in tarot training. Two repeating concepts, two cards that are like related and they repeat. It shows the importance of this idea. It is important, my spirit guide said, is that you don't worry about kind of, when we have a Five of Wands situation, this is when you're going back and forth with somebody. And both of you are so concerned with being like, winning the argument, getting the last word and type of thing, that you're just kind of lost in the confusion of it all, and no one's winning, and it's not fun. But remember, it's not about winning. It is about putting your foot in the sand, being really calm no matter what that other person throws your way, and just saying, I hear what you're saying, but that doesn't change that these are the things that I require, or this is where I want to go moving forward, and I'm letting you know that this is what I want. Yeah, but isn't that, I hear what you're saying, but I'm not, this is important to me. This is what I want. I'm not going to go away. Not giving in, not being reactionary, but sticking to what it is that you want going forward, which is really beautiful. Again, we talk about a new perspective. Not about the, like, maybe the old you, I'm not making a statement about you, but maybe, I'm just saying, for example, maybe the old you would have always just been like, man, me and my partner always fight all the time, or, oh, isn't that frustrating when other people, whoever like you date, don't you hate when the people that you potentially date are like this? Instead of being on that complaint train, being like, you know what, I'm going to resonate more with what I want. And then letting the universe know and the people I interact with that I'm going to get it no matter what. They are either in or they're out. And again, this isn't about it being out. I'm happy to say in many cases, and we're not even talking about if there's a loss, there would be a breakup. I'm not seeing any cards, I'm happy to say, in that regard. It's more that you do successfully stand by your guns, that you do successfully express what you want to express. You get what I'm saying. So, I'm excited for you. A lot of positive change, a lot of good fortune, a lot of good vibes, a lot of you figuring out what you want, new perspective. Love this for you. Good March. So anyways, if you enjoyed it, please leave a comment. Like this video. It helps out so much. Hit that subscribe button, notification bell. I'm wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing the next one. And let's get ready for group number 3. Group number 3. Let's look at those March predictions by looking at the cards. So first, let's look at love. Give me one moment to hear what my spirit guide is saying. Oh, okay. So you have to keep a stiff upper lip, keep positive, because what we're about to go into the reading might be initially a little difficult to hear, but it ends positively. Really happy to say that. Let me just double check it does. Oh, all? Okay, cool. This is a general reading, so often I'll use the term the vast amount of you. I'll give a couple options. I'll talk about percentages, but my spirit guide said all. It will end happy for all. So I'm very happy about that. So first, initially, we have the 10 of Cups in reverse. It's sad. It's this feeling of something not working out, a sense of disconnection, maybe you just feel like you're not vibing with your current partner. It just feels like maybe you're not communicating as much, or you feel disappointed by a choice they made or something like that. It feels very sad. For singles, because I did double check this is for singles and couples, it's the same concept too. It just doesn't feel like anyone's kind of vibing with you. It's a sense of disappointment in love, and you're viewing love as a whole, and whether that be that your current partner or the prospects that you're hoping to have, it just feels like, is anything out there? What am I not meant to have like a happy situation right now? This is not the vibes I'm hoping for. And this is not a very great place to start the month. So that's why I said initially hold on. But this is what then leads to the Page of Cups and the interaction going on with the Sun card. But the Page of Cups interacting here is so important and is the pivotal card that changes things up. So with the Page of Cups, traditionally, now remember, this can be read, we talk about this in the tarot training course, this can be read as upright or reversed, depending on if you want to see it as just purely reversed, or you want to see it being read as upright. And in this case, my spirit guide said it is being read upright, and it is in fact more interacting and leading into the Sun card. But with it interacting and leading into the Sun card, we notice these stars over here leading behind them and leading back. And see this matching imagery, the stars sprinkling, just starting off a little bit at first and becoming a beautiful pop, boom, bang, just wonderful outburst of creativity, inspiration, enthusiasm, that type of stuff. But hold on to that for a quick second. So it's a general disappointment going on initially in this topic. And then this then leads to the Page of Cups, which is when being read upright. This is you looking out into the world, setting your intention and going, how can I find the place where I'm happy with my current person I'm with? Or, where is my forever person? I'm trying to find them, find some sort of connection with other people. Maybe you just don't feel loved at all. It's a general sense of you asking and putting that out in the world and really searching for it and being within the right vibrations. This is actually really important to know. Sometimes we are not currently putting out or in the right situation where we're putting out the right frequency to get back an actual
response. And so sometimes, or not in the right frequency to be able to identify it more, rather. Actually, let me take that back. Let me check something with my spirit guide just real quickly. Yeah, I take back what I was saying. I was just checking the spirit guide because as soon as I was saying it, I was like, that doesn't vibe. You're always getting answers, but there are times when you're putting out your frequencies and letting the universe know what it is you would like to have it back. There are other times when you're more aware of it. That's how I want to put it. I immediately, as soon as I said that, I was like, I gotta take that back. So anyways, you're putting it out there and you get signs. You get them, and this is important. My spirit guide says you see them. You start to notice, this is like suddenly thinking about a topic, and then all of a sudden you start to get recommendations in your YouTube where you start to talk about they talk about that particular subject, and you feel like you hear things that you resonate with, or a podcast gets suggested to you, or it pops up on your current like book, your audiobook you're listening to, or something like that, and you start to kind of feel inspiration by what you're hearing and connecting to it, or being like, yeah, that relates to my current situation. And the thing that's so interesting here is initially your perspective is a sense of pondering of why this is happening, and there is a bit of a negative flair going on to it, and a feeling of tone initially that you're putting out into the world and you're looking towards initially. With the sun card being read in reverse, and in this case it is being read in reverse, my spirit guide said, is think of it as the sun setting. So initially when the sun card is upright, we've got a really the sun is just starting. You're feeling positive. It feels, and this is a key part of the sun card, it feels fresh and new. It feels exciting because it's new. It feels like it doesn't have a past to weigh it down. And when it's being in reverse, it almost feels like that era is over. Maybe when we talk about partners, because keep in mind this is for still singles and partners, maybe initially there was a sense of excitement in the beginning and you just feel like it's not there now. It almost feels like it's setting and it's ending, and there's a disappointment around it, and you're questioning yourself of like, I want that back, or how can I get that back, that type of mindset. But with all of that keeping in mind, this is where it gets really interesting. Your initial intention is, what can I do to remedy the situation and turn this in an upright position and have that, because when we have a 10 of Cups upright position, it is over the moon, positive and happy and wonderful, and lots of connection and love and just pure happy ooey gooey times, as I like to put this card. This is what I like to call the ooey gooey card. So going on. As you notice, you initially feel like you're starting to head in this direction. Maybe you hear things that resonate, but resonate with being like, yeah, it is unfair when I hear this. And you're right, I do hear this. I agree with that. But nonetheless, you feel and find yourself led back. The signs take you back to that situation. And in turn, and this is where it gets really beautiful, you end up finding the answers in the situation you were initially leaving and maybe couldn't quite see, you weren't in the right position to take it on at that moment and be able to see it for what it is, and you get led back to it. You have a different mindset, different perspective, searching for things, and realize the answers were there all along. So an example of this would be like, let's say you feel initially maybe the discord is, again, we're just talking about partners right now, but let's say the discord was you felt like your other person was like kind of pulling away, and you feel like they were closing off from you, and it just made you feel like when you came home, you weren't coming home to somebody that you could talk to and feel like they were your best friend. It just felt like you were two people living together potentially, or something like that. And this is then by the end of the month, through the signs and the opening, because you were so kind of consumed with your own story and journey and signs and stuff like that, this gave the other partner enough time to finally open up. And when they open up, they tell you, well, I wasn't sharing this with you because I was worried you wouldn't think I was cool, or something like that. And what initially started as feeling like you were separating and didn't have anything in common and headed down a path of worry, you end up becoming closer than ever because you realize that they're sharing this with you. And then with that honesty putting out, you realize you can not only reassure them, but find connection through the reassurance. The first thing that separated you is actually bringing you closer together and being able to positively move forward in that direction from that. So keep that in mind, that when you initially see it, put out your intention, vibe forward, but understand that you will come back and you're learning. And I want to put this out there before I move on to the next fortune part. These things happen for a reason. We want to be self-aware. Why did it work out this way? Because I'll tell you right now, it wasn't random. this is teaching you that sometimes time heals all. Sometimes you guys both need time in order for things to work out because they weren't ready to share then and you weren't in the right position to hear, and then that time healed it. That when we look inwards into ourselves, and that's what you did, you pulled away and you looked inward to yourself, you were sort of putting out that magnetic energy to the universe that you were worthwhile, and so they saw that too. Outside parties or the current party you're with, and that got attracted into you. That it's this beautiful sort of meta thing when we talk about like yin and yang and everything being interconnected. You're finding the answer in the exact thing that was the issue. Do you see that dichotomy, that the universe is so much more complex and is like a gorgeous poem unveiling in front of you? So truly beautiful. Love that for you. And I'm glad that it has a much happier ending and can give you some reassurance when you're kind of just going through the motions. So anyways, let's look at fortune. Okay, let me hear what my spirit guide is saying. Give me one moment. Ooh. Okay, so this is really fun and interesting. Okay, so first let's start with the Two of Cups. This is probably one of the more, these are probably like, this is like the reassurance card of like victory because it is being read. Again, we talked about this in the first reading. My spirit guide assured me that this is actually being read upright and is more taking this process and leading it into here. These are your two matching cards of like, this is what you're going to focus on moving forward, and you're going to really benefit from it. And it's something to keep in mind going forward into the future. This is sort of like your unstoppable pairing, you could say. So first with the Two of Cups, this is a type of thing of equal exchange. You put something in, you get it back in equal exchange. But here is something where it's more important. Compared to something like the Justice card, it is like in that moment you put in a certain amount of energy, and in that moment you get back that sort of instant result. You're really nice to a customer, you get back a certain level of a tip or something like that. You see what I'm saying there? That there's that kind of instant result. But Two of Cups is different in this regard, my spirit guide was telling me. They said this is something where you're going to focus on when you're putting in that exchange towards your, when we talk about finances. So when you're putting in an effort and making decisions for your own business, when you're interacting with your coworkers at a place that maybe you work for, like a company or something like that. And remember, when we say company, we're also including, I always talk about the barista metaphor. You could be a barista, that you're still working for a company in that regard and stuff like that. But understanding that when you're making decisions, you are making the choice of saying, what is working and building towards things that will build up towards an investment in the long term. So an example would be choosing to, maybe like you want to start a new adventure in your business, right? And your thought process is, well, right now it might not be fruitful, but I could see that in the long term I do want to do this, and I can see the possibility of it being a good investment. You're aware of the long-term return. Now keep in mind, this doesn't mean that everything is going to be a long-term return and you're not going to see financial benefits this month. I'm happy to say, I did double check with my spirit guide, you are going to see financial return this month. But we're talking about your focus is not only just what you put in is what you get back, but you asking yourself, when I'm interacting with this, is this going to benefit me in the long term? And if it is, if that little investment is there, that's where you really want to put that love and energy, because you're going to get it back. Think of it as like your offspring, so to speak, and you're going to see it grow up and you're going to really benefit from that. You want to be aware of that so you don't overspend your energy to every single aspect. I'm not saying like cut it off and become cold-hearted when you're interacting with someone you can't get into like that sort of long-term investment with. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying that it would be best to put that extra sort of like love and attention into things that you feel you would like to see a longevity into. So example, Let's say, again, we're using the barista metaphor, but you don't want to be a barista forever. You're not quite sure what you're going to do next, but you're like, for right now, I work there, right? So this would be a good time to check in with yourself and say, well, I can benefit from skills. So when I'm communicating with someone, it's less about the individual customer, but rather me putting out the energy that I can get really good at my wording, making people happy, and I can use this no matter, I don't know what I'm going to do next, but I can use this. Or getting really good mentally at being like, okay, how can I compartmentalize how I work in these various stations to make my job as easy as possible and to make the smoother process for all my coworkers? This would be really beneficial as a skill in the long term to use. And so that would be an example of you putting love and attention into something that you could see, you're not quite sure where yet, but there's an investment quality there. So that's a good example of where you're putting that time and attention. Now that leads into the 9 of Wands. Now in this particular case, my spirit guide said, I'm reading it as like not backing down. And when you feel like you really believe in an idea or believe in like wanting to keep your situation or station, of just being like, no, I'm not going anywhere. This is happening. I'm making this work. And what I mean by that energy is like, let's say, again, we're talking about the barista metaphor. Let's say you keep being forced to work at the cash register and you're done, you're tired, and you want to be able to work at other places, and you are tired of kind of being put in a position to only work in one station. So you change it up. You decide to go somewhere else, and you start to kind of get bullied by your, other coworkers, or, some sort of excuse trying to put you somewhere else. This is you standing ground and realizing, nope, no, I'm standing here. I see what's happening. I see the investment and the long-term benefit of me being in other places, not getting burnt out, being in that one position. I'm not going anywhere. I am not going anywhere. I'm very sure that this is the right decision for me, emotionally, for whatever reason you want to do that. I'm not going to go down. But remember, that kind of energy can be brought now, in the future, whenever. So let's say right now you have a situation where you have an idea and your boss is like, I don't know. I don't think our company really wants to do that right now. And this is you saying, no, I know this is a good idea. And even maybe doing it on your own. Whatever it is, you have that sort of energy with the universe and your peers of like, no, I'm not backing down. Because if you don't back down, you're the person that kind of sort of there's a respect thing that comes with it. But it's sort of like everyone being like, wow, maybe they did know all along type of thing. So when you really feel that you connect with something, it's not about bringing this energy to every single thing you do. It's like when you feel it's the right decision, just putting your heels in the sand and being like, no, this is what's happening. This is how it's going to go. So again, we have the victory card, bringing that good energy, saying confirmation. We have that love and investment, being victorious and being beautifully melted with this I'm not backing down energy when the time is right, when it's the right call to make. And you just got a winning pair. You will see financial return this month, but this is some great vibes and concepts to think of going forward, because when it comes to money, it is much more of there's perspectives you can have and attitudes you can hold and things you can use going forward that are really the key to kind of everything when it comes to seeing a return. Think of it as when people are getting hired for a job. It's who gets hired? The person that's really likable and confident, or the person that's really kind of standoffish, not easygoing? It's you know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying here. Okay. Oh, we got another Chariot card in reverse. Still being read upright. That's interesting. Interesting. Okay, well, let's talk about this. Keep in mind, I'm going to extend off of this. This actually has the same meaning, but there was something I just realized I didn't say that I'm going to, perfect timing, I can talk about it now. So let's first start with the Judgment card. So my spirit guide said that you will be tested this month. So when we talk about being tested and challenged, this is when you are given a situation. It doesn't always have to be super, difficult or overwhelming. It's just something that you're just kind of ugh, why do I have to deal with this? And you're given an opportunity by the universe to practice something, step up to the plate, and really kind of cement in yourself that you have changed. You are ready. Often I will say that when we have a judgment card situation pop up and you do step up to the plate and you have success from it, I do want to say, let me just double check with my spirit guide. Yeah, they're already saying I'm correct. This is when spiritual upgrades happen. A lot of people wonder how spiritual upgrades can happen. They can happen for a variety of reasons. I have a whole video in my spiritual talks videos, and I talk about this stuff all the time on my Patreon. You can go check that out. But when we talk about the idea of spiritual upgrades happening because you have changed in some way, that new mindset and perspective and energy you're putting out is no longer compatible with your vessel. So your vessel gets upgraded so it can match you. And then that upgrade can make things often very easy. This is how people describe saying like, wow, after I made this decision, it just always felt like everything was smooth and easy after that. It's kind of like that type of vibe. So in this particular case, so the judgment card, it pops up, the vibe pops up, and you are going to, this is what my spirit guide said, you're going to make sure that every time something pops up, just your living life, everything is an opportunity. It doesn't mean everything's a challenge. It just means anytime something pops up in this month of March, you're going to treat it like, yep, an opportunity to show off how good I am. You're always going to spin it in a beneficial way. That way, when the challenge does actually happen, you most likely will not even notice it pops up. It won't even feel difficult. And you'll right away in that moment with that attitude receive the benefit from it. But by showing that benefit, practicing it all month, you're really solidifying to the universe and yourself that you've understood this concept and challenge of like stepping up to the plate, always seeing things as a benefit. Like, so example, let's say you're given an opportunity where let's say like you didn't get as many like hours or something on your shift. Instead of like seeing this as a challenge or concern with money, you can be like, maybe I could like find some sort of side thing I can do and show myself how reliable I am. Or maybe you can have just deep trust that it will all work out, and you spend the rest of the month like really tuning into yourself and spending more time and realizing that every moment can be something that can be utilized in some form, shape, and way, and realizing nothing is like an obstacle but always an opportunity. And when you solidify that just really benefits you in the long term, not only with like yourself, but spiritual upgrades, all that good jazz. So remember, spend the month seeing everything as a benefit to you. Everything's a benefit, seeing it that way, and then acting on it in that way. Now, with the Two of Wands being upright, my spirit guide said that it would be a good time to like really well organize your living space. So clean it up, get rid of things. But this would be a good time to come up with some sort of organized system. Maybe you can get some clear bins and label them and make your life a million times easier by becoming someone who's like, okay, every time I come home, I put, my keys in this one place type of thing. And then you start to realize the benefit of being like, wow, every time I come home, I know, or every time I need to go somewhere, I know where my stuff is. And just noticing the extreme benefit from that. So that's something that you'll be focusing on this month and should put your attention towards. And last but not least, the Chariot in reverse. My spirit guide said that in both cases, this is you becoming really decisive. We talked about how perfectly that matches over here with this and the Nine of Wands and the Two of Cups. Both of these are very decisive type of concepts. This is you looking through what you need to do when it comes to your career and figuring out what's worth the investment, what's not worth the investment, and then putting more of that love and attention there rather than spreading yourself all over and worrying about it. This is very decisive and figuring out, making conclusive statements with yourself. And then over here, when you find something really resonates and you don't, you're going to stick to it, you're going to, that's a very decisive action. So this is you really finding your way through becoming a more decisive person and believing in yourself and then seeing the results that follow with that. And I was asking, just out of curiosity, when you're reading tarot, I asked them why this is not being read in reverse and why this is the way it is. And I said, see how this person is actually stopping. Normally the Chariot is somebody who's moving, they're mobile in some way. If you can see with the this way and that way, they're very confused. They've paused. By the way, how cute is that? They're looking both ways and they're kind of figuring out where do I go? I'm not sure. They're not moving. Well, it being in reverse in this case is showing that they have made the decision. They're back to being mobile. They are making steps to move forward and feel like they're moving forward, because every time they're making a decision. They're putting sort of another marker on their map, if you will, and then heading to that to next direction. They can't head to a direction unless they tell themselves and the map where they want to go and then deciding to go there. So awesome. Super beneficial, wonderful month. I'm so excited for you to get clean, to get organized, to feel victorious, to see everything as a benefit, to learn the inner poem of the sort of universe, you could say. Please give this video a comment, a like, subscribe, and that notification bell. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for our final group. Group number 4. Group number 4. Let's find out your March predictions by looking at the cards. Okay, we're going to start with love. Give me one moment to hear my spirit guide. Oh. So I'm just asking some more detailed information. Let me just find out. Okay, cool. Okay, perfect. Okay, so first off with the Emperor card, somebody stoic is going to be standing in your way. Now, sort of creating a wall, if you will, that will be preventing these 2 bits of information or like experiences going on, and we want to get past this wall. This person can be a romantic interest, like a person you're wait, can it be a significant other? No, it's only potential partner. Okay, so this is for, by the way, this is for singles and couples, but only in the case of it being a potential partner, there could be a stoic type of person sort of creating a blockade, if you will. But in a lot of cases, it is an outside person that is not the specific other, partner or potential partner or anything like that. Now, what are they blocking, if you will? So over here in the 7 of Swords, I am being told that there is a secret and that you should know this secret. In some cases, it can be potentially a secret that the other stoic person needs to express to you. But other than that, it's just something that you're deserving of knowing, and the blockade is sort of trying to prevent you from seeing it. Now, it's a good thing that you know this secret. Let me just double check with my spirit guide. Yes, it's a very good thing that you know this. I was going to say that because we have the 8 of Wands. Also on the other side of this wall is, well, this is like very wonderful, quick, giant romance. This is like when you meet someone and you fall hard and fast, and within 2 weeks you guys are totally entrenched in each other's lives. Does this also work for couples? Yes, it definitely does. Let me just double check that I'm hearing them correctly. Okay, cool. So this works for both singles and couples. So you've got all this romance, you've got something that you're needing to hear, and that's, you deserve that information, and you have sort of this wall being put up. Now, that's why I was asking more detailed information. What can you do to shrink the wall, if you will? Now, this sort of stoic person is a distraction. So the more you look around their wall and you notice, like, example, let's say I'm not saying they're doing this, but let's say somebody called and then they're saying nobody called, but you see someone called. Just the fact that you're seeing that someone did call, even if you don't know that information right away, just the fact that you're seeing there's something behind it and that they're trying to distract you and be like, nope, there's nothing behind here. I'm taking all your focus. It's kind of like when you get confused and you think somebody, like let's say a boss or something that has like a sort of intense type of demeanor. Now, being stoic is not a negative thing. That some people don't emotionally express themselves that way. But we're talking about the type of energy of someone that really keeps their emotions to themselves, and they are negatively trying to kind of create this like vibe around you of being like, nope, you answer to me. I know what to do. Wait, let me just double check with my spirit guide. I'm correctly receiving that information. They're adding something. Hold on. Oh, I love this. Okay, this is super lesson learning. Thank you. My spirit guide also added saying, yes, that was correct. And also saying, look at how see-through they are. As you can tell, we can see through to space. Then we have space being reflected in these directions. So it's like you can see through to this. That they want to present themselves as if you cannot see past them. That this is your only world. This is your only interaction. But in reality, when you can look through to someone and see how scared they really are, or how little power they really feel they have. That's why they're projecting. That type of thing. So you're looking around them, the wall's getting smaller, the more and more you kind of do what you want, go towards you want without thinking you need to receive their permission and stuff like that type of thing. You get what I'm saying in that type of vibe. So I see a wonderful connection. I see you understanding a secret. I see you learning a wonderful lesson that just because someone presents themselves to you as an obstacle doesn't mean they actually are an obstacle. So beautiful thing to know in life, of course. And again, this is for both singles and couples. So that's really cute, and I love that for you. Now let's look at fortune. Again, let me just talk to my spirit guide. Oh, I love this. Okay, this is fantastic, and this will give you reassurance throughout the month so you don't get distracted. So I'm really happy to say with the 10 of Pentacles over here, you're just going to be having a lot of money come your way. It's going to be really nice. As you can see through this imagery here, this person Alice is relaxing, taking a load off. She doesn't have to think about it. The 10 of Pentacles deals often with inheritance. And when you are somebody who is inheriting, now keep in mind, wait, let me just check if in some cases it is. Very minuscule cases, my spirit guide said, but it doesn't always have to do with inheritance. It's just this idea of you got so much money coming your way, there's a real long-term investment you can depend on it and type of stuff. So a lot of money. Love that for you. But when somebody's resting like this, they're like, oh yeah, I got inheritance. I don't even need to think about tomorrow or the next day. I can do whatever I want. It's very much that vibe you're putting off that is attracting this amount of money. So I would recommend that throughout the month, every day when you wake up, you just kind of meditate for 5 minutes. And the first 5 minutes of every day, you're going to wake up and you're just going to get into this zone. You're going to kind of create a narrative in your head. You're going to be like, yeah, I'm doing so well. I don't have to worry about money for the next couple lifetimes. Oh yeah, money, it just comes to me so easy. I don't even have to lift a finger. In fact, the more that I relax and do nothing, the more money comes to me. And you're just really in that zone and kind of realize that it's a vibration you can create through this sort of story you're telling yourself. And then check in with that energy throughout the day and remember, that's the energy. You're just vibing. You're hanging out, relaxing, you get a call, you get a promotion. You're relaxing, hanging out, chilling. All of a sudden somebody is giving you an extra couple $100s. You're just vibing and receiving lots of money, and it's a really relaxed type of good mentality to be in. But it's definitely something that you can continue to project to bring it even more into your life, even not only in this month, but continuing forward. But keeping that in mind, I do see some troublemakers in the 8 of Cups upright, and the confirmation of their troublemaker-ness in the 6 of Swords in reverse. So it does seem that there is some possibilities of opportunities or potential with working other people or something like that, and they do fall through. Now the reason why it's good that they're falling through, and we're talking about this, is this blockade we've got going on over here with the Cups is that emotion you're putting out there. You're telling the universe, yep, I'm doing so amazing, nothing can bother me, or take away all this awesomeness in the world and stuff like that I'm projecting and receiving. And you're essentially saying to this outside force, if you don't resonate with this, if you can't bring me more of this, you're not coming into my vibe. And so you are unconsciously putting that out there throughout the month. And so when you see things that potentially could have happened, working with someone else, a partnership or something like that, and it just doesn't seem to work out, or you were going to have the same shift as someone else and that also didn't work out, this is a good thing. When it doesn't work out this month, it is a sign that they are bringing some emotional baggage, so just kind of woe is me type stuff that they want to bring in your vibe and energy. And you've got to stay strong. This is often something I see, sort of like a test from the universe I see very often. It's a way the universe is helping you solidify your perspective and your trajectory, where you want to where you want to tell the universe, this is where I want to go. This is the energy I want to encompass and continue to encompass. So when these little vibes pop up and they happen, by not giving in to them, you are continuing on your way. And the more we resonate with an energy, the longer we do, the more it builds up and it becomes more formidable with it inside us. So this is actually a positive thing. It shows that you've built something so powerful inside you, and you're attracting so much money and doing so well that when this little energy comes your way, it's sort of everybody else being like, I'm so drawn to this, I want it too, that you're that powerful, like putting that out there. But also when it doesn't work out, I'm happy to say, because you're so solidifying yourself, it is a blessing. Again, they would bring the type of energy that would kind of more pull you away from this focus and attention. And so I'm happy to say, as long as you keep fortifying, we talk about the meditation and everything like that, to keep fortifying it, keep trusting that of course everything's working out for you. If something doesn't work out, then it wasn't meant to be. This is what's working out, so that's the direction you're going in. That will keep the barricade up. So everything's going to be great. I'm happy to say they're going to quickly, be sent packing by the universe, and you're going to keep vibing and receiving lots of money. Who doesn't love that? Now let's look at the last part, just some bits of information. Oh, these are kind of similar. Hold on one second. Let's my spirit guide for one moment. Okay, cute, fun. Okay, so first off, with the Ace of Wands in reverse, I'm going to just define this as like, you just don't feel as flirty. Let's put it that way. Now, my spirit guide said that this is not necessarily a bad thing. In general, it's not a bad thing if this is not the energy you naturally resonate with. But just because you're not feeling that as much in the month doesn't mean anything. We sometimes go through these temporary experiences, and just to not give it any weight. But it makes sense if you're feeling that way, because this energy we got going on in the love part of the reading is kind of not the greatest. So because you're feeling a little more you're not as inspired to express yourself in that kind of way, that's great, because with this type of energy popping in, and it not clashing with this type of, when this is upright, I would say this is like a super freeing and playful mindset, and you don't have to have that mindset being projected and then deal with any sort of it being squashed or trying to prevent it being squashed from this type of energy. Again, it's not like super oppressive, but it doesn't mesh with what you could potentially be putting out there. So it's like, this is one of those moments where you look back and you go, oh, it was a blessing in disguise. So you're just going to be not as focused on that. And we already talked about how you're kind of more focused on the intellectual and emotional redirection when we talk about not only the fortune, but looking past the wall, looking for the opportunities that are there, looking for the secret and stuff like that. That's where you're really more focused. So this is sort of being turned down, if you will, into you, so you can redirect your energy somewhere else to then, well, turn it back on. Then over here, the Death card and the Devil card are actually, there's a sort of connection going on here. So, first off, my spirit guide said that when all hope seems lost at a point in this month, if you can see right here in the imagery, the little kitty has got a little tail, another tail of, as my spirit guide put it, a friend. That there is something right outside the corner of your perspective. In the first part of the reading, we talked about that. We said how around this person, there you can see on the outer edges of the situation, there's something else. And initially, it doesn't catch your attention. And then when all hope is lost, it finally comes into your periphery enough for you to benefit from it. Now, I did double check with my spirit guide, because there's so much beneficial stuff happening to you this month. I just wanted to double check this wasn't like super serious, because when they said when all hope is lost, I was like, whoa, that sounds intense. But that's the thing with tarot, and I'm going to just say this real quickly. Tarot sounds so much more intense than it might be. So if I say to you like, oh, I see something bad, it's super normal for most people to go to the worst case scenario. But the thing is, what if that bad is like, hey, you know how you wanted to buy that thing? Well, it's going to be sold out. And that's not a huge deal. You'll be fine. You're like, oh, that's not bad. It's like that. So even though the terminology feels extreme, we have moments when we emotionally are like, oh, I wanted this to happen. And maybe you really cared in that moment. And then, of course, it all is going to work out. But that doesn't mean when all is hope is lost, it's relating to something really major. That would be more like, life-changing, I'm happy to say. That's not the case. But also over here, with the Devil card, it does appear, and they do feel, let me just double check if they're related. They're a little related. Okay. Is it more than a little or only a little? Only a little. Okay. So there does appear to be an unhealthy habit, and this is one they already have, right? You can potentially develop it throughout this month, but for some, it's a habit you've already had in the past. And this is just something to be mindful of, that it can pop up and to pay attention to it. Now, this unhealthy habit can be literally anything. You just want to check in with yourself and say, is there something I'm doing that doesn't best serve me? In fact, kind of more hinders me? And can I recheck in with myself? And I'm seeing it's not helping me, and I'm doing it repeatedly. Can I pull back and do the opposite? Just refrain from doing it. Can I keep an eye on this? So a good example is really easy. Let's say you're kind of caught up into too much like scrolling or something like that. Maybe you're scrolling so much that it is preventing you from just going and living life and relaxing, enjoying things that you really would benefit from and living your life with intention. And you realize, oh my goodness, I'm doing that. My nights are just going by, or my days are just going by, and I need to reconnect with myself. That'd be a good example of you doing something that's not serving you as much, and you're doing it habitually. You get what I'm saying here? So whatever that is for you, it's something that's repeating and is not serving you, that has the potential of popping up. And the good thing is, we talk about there being hope and something right around the corner in the periphery. But it's just something, it's not, again, we talk about things sounding really extreme. It's not as extreme as wait, hold on, let me just double check. Oh, in a very rare case, it can be. Okay, well, you know who you are. If you have something that you feel like that has really kind of pulled you back in the past, just be a little more tuned in. Go to what, helps you. Don't stress about it. It always helps to do something that can lift you up, not have a fear of something happening. You know what I mean? So just be aware that this month that you want to kind of find your kind of support groups and stuff like that to take care of yourself, and not a big deal. We all get through. We all have habits that we have overcome or can overcome, and by just taking it one step at a time, being less judgmental of ourselves, and realizing that it was weirdly a blessing in disguise, and you did learn more from it than it, made you feel bad or anything like that, then you can just move forward and benefit from it, because everything's a benefit, everything's a solution. So if you enjoyed this reading, please give it a comment and like. It helps out so much. And give it a subscribe. Give this channel a subscribe, notification bell. Hit that notification bell. I'm wishing you best. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. That was everything. Goodbye.